Hello everyone, my name is Ferene. I work across procurement, project management, and teaching. My passion is helping professionals to turn complex ideas into clear, actionable insights. Today, I will be sharing with you how data analytics can transform procurement. The objective is simple, to show how analytics tools can turn raw data into actionable insights, enabling smarter procurement decisions and driving real business impact. Let's begin. This presentation is divided into two parts. In part one, we will explore the foundation, why data is indispensable for procurement professionals, how it builds trust, strengthens negotiations, drives efficiency, and enables foresight. We will also look at real examples of how data supports management buy-in, how to identify pain points, and why myths around AI needs to be clarified. Finally, we'll discuss the risk of poor data readiness and why clean, connected data is a true prerequisite for success. Then, in part 2, we will move from insight into action. We will dive into advanced AI use case, the future skills procurement professionals must master, and how leading organizations scale success across the enterprise. In short, part 2 is about turning data into measurable business impact. So let's begin with part one, where we uncover why data is not just numbers, but the very backbone of procurement transformation. Most procurement teams are not lacking data, they are lacking clarity. In this session, I want to show you why data alone is not enough, how to use data to uncover pain points, and why AI is only as powerful as the quality of data behind it. Let's continue. Let's start with a simple truth. Data by itself doesn't create value. For procurement professionals, data is more than just numbers in spreadsheets. It is a strategic asset. When used well, it can transform procurement from being seen as a tactical, cost-cutting department into a powerful lever for value creation and risk protection. Think about it. If teams only focus on traditional metrics like cost, quality, and delivery, they are missing the bigger picture. By mastering data, procurement can go beyond those basics, uncovering opportunities, predicting risks, and shaping smarter strategies that drive the business forward. So, the real problem isn't the lack of data, it is the lack of insights. And that's what we are here to solve. So, why is data so important in procurement? Because it gives us a visibility and foresight in a world full of price volatility and supply chain disruptions. First, data builds trust. When you walk into a meeting with finance or IT, verified information turns into a dialogue builder. It shifts the conversation from opinions to facts. Second, data strengthens negotiation power. Imagine sitting across from a supplier with peer benchmarks and historical facts in hand. You are no longer debating feelings. You are anchoring the discussion in reality. Third, data drives efficiency. Instead of drowning in spreadsheets, automation frees professionals to focus on strategy, innovation, and higher value work. And finally, data gives us predictive capability. It's not just about looking back at what happened, it's about anticipating price increase, supply delays, or demand shifts before they occur. In short, data isn't just numbers. It is the foundation for trust, power, efficiency, and foresight. Now, let's look at a real example of how data helps procurement professionals win management buy-in. When you're asking for funding or approval, gut feelings won't cut it. You need a compelling data-backed business case. Take Maverick spend. That's when purchase happen outside of agreed contracts. One manufacturing company used spend analysis to uncover 12.3 million in Maverick spend. That number alone gave management immediate justification to centralize procurement. Or think about ROI. Data shows that organizations with mature analytics achieve 24% lower procurement costs and 43% higher contract compliance compared to peers. Those are hard numbers that speak louder than opinions. Benchmarking also creates urgency. If your payment terms are shorter than the industrial average, data makes it clear that there is an opportunity to improve working capital. And finally, predictive modeling. If data forecasts an 18% price increase in a key commodity, you can justify locking in long-term agreements today, saving millions tomorrow. In short, data doesn't just support decisions, it makes the case undeniable. Here's the challenge. Most procurement teams still rely on simple historical reporting. That kind of reporting only tells us what happened, but it doesn't explain why it happened. To uncover the real pain points, we need to move beyond descriptive reporting into diagnostic analytics. Diagnostic analytics digs deeper. It investigates the root cause behind the numbers. For example, instead of noting that supply lead times increase, diagnostic analytics help us understand why they increase. Was it a logistic bottleneck? Was it a supplier capacity issue? Or maybe a policy change at a specific facility? The same goes for budget variance. Standard reports might show that one plant is overspending, but diagnostic analytics reveals the underlying drivers, whether it is higher input costs, inefficient processes, or compliance gaps. In short, data becomes powerful when it moves from describing the past to explaining the causes. That's how procurement professionals uncover the real pain points and drive meaningful change. More details about the type of data analytics in part 2. Stay tuned! So, how exactly can procurement professionals use data to uncover their real pain points? There are several powerful methods. First, quantifying maverick spend. Spend analysis shines a light on roach off-contract purchase that drain millions without anyone noticing. Second, benchmarking and market intelligence. By comparing internal prices against peer benchmarks or market indexes, you can spot hidden markups and overpayments instantly. Third, supplier performance dashboards. Instead of relying on gut feel, dashboards give a factual picture of reliability, showing delivery delays, quality incidents, and SLA breaches in black and white. Fourth, stakeholder pain point interviews. Leading organizations use data as a dialogue builder. They listen to internal frustrations, then validate and prioritize solutions with hard evidence. Fifth, contract leakage and compliance analysis. Analytics can reveal gaps between negotiated terms and actual invoices, or risks like auto-renewal clauses that quietly erode value. And finally, anomaly detection. Machine learning can flag unusual spending patterns or invoicing errors, pointing to fraud or inefficiencies that demand urgent attention. Together, these methods transform data into a spotlight. They don't just show what's happening, they reveal where the pain really lies. More use case in part 2. If procurement professionals could see everything, contracts, ERP data, supplier records, market indexes, all in one place, that is the vision of a procurement information hub, a centralized platform that connects fragmented data into a single 360-degree view of the supply chain. With that kind of visibility, you could instantly spot high-value opportunities and hidden risks. It is like switching from a blurry snapshot into a crystal-clear panorama. But here's the reality. For many companies, this hub doesn't exist yet. Connecting ERP, contract systems, and external database is technically complex, time-consuming, and requires strong human-led governance. So, while the vision is powerful, the journey is still underway. And the organizations that succeed will be the ones that treat data integration not as a side project, but as a strategic priority. Many procurement professionals believe that AI can solve the data problem all by itself. Unfortunately, that is a myth. AI is powerful. Yes, it enhances procurement capabilities in ways we couldn't imagine before. But technology alone doesn't guarantee success. Real impact comes from a triad: people, processes, and technology working together. Without strong governance and skilled professionals, even the best AI tools won't deliver meaningful results. So, the message is simple. AI is not the solution by itself. It is a tool, and it only works when people and processes guide it. Let's clarify why AI cannot solve procurement's data challenges on its own. The first issue is garbage in, garbage out. AI is only as good as the data it processes. Many chief procurement officers admit their data infrastructure simply isn't ready. In fact, 21% of leaders report low data maturity, with less than 70% of spent data stored in one place. And even when data is centralized, It is often unclean, uncategorized, or missing critical context like market trends or quality specs. Second, there is the implementation gap. Technology doesn't fail because of the software. It fails because organizations don't embed it into daily processes. Many pilots prove the concept, but never move beyond testing. Without a clear business case, funding and ROI remain elusive, and cultural resistance is real. Teams who are used to gut instinct often push back against data-driven methods. Third, the human talent shortage. AI doesn't replace expertise, it changes the skills required. What's needed are translators, professionals who can turn business questions into analytics approach and interpret AI results in business terms. And finally, integration complexities. Procurement data is still fragmented across ERP, contract repositories, and spreadsheets. AI can't magically stitch these together. So, the message is clear. AI is powerful, but it is not a silver bullet. Success requires clean data, strong processes, skilled people, and cultural alignment. So, if AI alone isn't the answer, what does true success look like? Leading organizations, often called lighthouses, show us the recipe. First, they focus on high-value use case. Instead of trying to automate everything at once, they target the areas where data and AI can deliver the biggest impact. Second, they build a robust data infrastructure. They don't just rent technology, they own and manage their data foundation, ensuring it's clean, connected, and reliable. And third, they invest in people. They upskill their teams and adapt operating models so AI becomes part of daily workflows and not just a side experiment. That's the real recipe. Use cases, infrastructure, and people. When all three come together, procurement moves from myth to measurable success. Data is the backbone of AI. Without good data, even the most advanced AI tools in procurement will fail to deliver meaningful results. AI effectiveness depends entirely on the quality and integration of the data it processes. Clean, reliable, and connected data allow us to move beyond simple historical reporting into proactive, predictive intelligence. When the data is strong, AI can uncover trends, forecast risks, and highlight opportunities with confidence. But when the data is fragmented or poor in quality, the insights will be misleading and decisions will suffer. So the answer is yes. Data is not just important, it is essential. Good data is what turns AI from a buzzword into a true game changer for procurement. If AI is the engine, then data is a fuel. Without it, the engine simply won't run. AI and machine learning rely on historical and real-time data to recognize patterns and forecast outcomes. Think about demand fluctuations, price shifts, or supply reliability. Without records of purchase, such as price, date, volume, vendor, these systems can't model cost drivers or detect trends. Data also powers automated decision making. For AI to generate contracts or make trade decisions, it needs unified and rich sources of truth that connect information across systems. And finally, data enables strategic sourcing. With AI-powered classification and master data management, organizations can integrate internal spend with external market insights, scaling sourcing efforts into a whole new level. So, the takeaway is simple. AI needs good, connected, and enriched data to truly deliver value. High-quality data that is clean, categorized, and standardized directly dictates the success of AI tools. First, it prevents flawed insights. Raw data that's inconsistent or duplicated leads to misleading results. Cleansing and standardizing vendor names ensures the numbers AI relies on are trustworthy. Second, it increases accuracy and trust. Actionable insights you can trust build credibility with stakeholders and remove bias from supplier negotiations. Third, it enables seamless automation. Clean data allows algorithms to build spend cubes and calculate should costs for thousands of items automatically. Fourth, it drives superior ROI. Organizations with mature analytics achieve 24% lower procurement costs, 37% faster sourcing cycles, and 43% higher contract compliance compared to peers. And finally, scalability. A strong data foundation helps AI move beyond pilot purgatory and embed into core processes at scale. So, the impact of good data is clear. It's not just about accuracy, it's about trust, automation, ROI, and the ability to scale. Now, let's talk about the risk of poor data readiness. Despite knowing how critical data is, many chief procurement officers admit their infrastructure simply isn't ready for the AI revolution. In fact, 21% of procurement leaders report low data maturity. And even those with a so-called single source of truth often struggle with data that hasn't been properly cleaned or categorized. The caution here is clear. Technology enables, but it does not guarantee success. Without clean data and without the right people and processes in place, AI tools will fail to deliver the results organizations expect. So, before chasing the promise of AI, procurement must first strengthen its data foundation. Otherwise, the risks outweigh the rewards. So, let's bring it all together. Over the last slides, we have seen that data is not just numbers. It is the foundation for insight, trust, and transformation in procurement. We have clarified the myths around AI, and we have seen that success depends on more than technology. It requires clean, connected data, strong processes, and skilled people working together. The message is simple. Data without insight is wasted potential. But when organizations build the right infrastructure, invest in their teams, and focus on high-value use case, procurement becomes a true strategic lever, driving efficiency, resilience, and measurable business impact. So, the call to action is this. Don't just collect data. Turn it into insights and let that insight power the future of procurement. We have explored why data matters, the myths around AI, and the risk of poor readiness. But this is only the beginning. In part 2, we will move from insight into action. We will look at advanced AI use case, the future skills procurement professionals need, and how leading organizations scale success across the enterprise. So stay tuned because the real story isn't just about data. It's about how procurement can harness that data to transform the business. See you and thank you for your time. Bye. We have explored why data matters, the myths around AI, and the risk of poor readiness. But this is only the beginning. In part 2, we will move from insight into action. We will look at advanced AI use case, the future skills procurement professionals need, and how leading organizations scale success across the enterprise. So stay tuned because the real story isn't just about data. It's about how procurement can harness that data to transform the business. See you and thank you for your time. Bye.